This is the 425 Homercast. I am at Coach Torres _ on Twitter. He is at Coach Miller 06 on Twitter. We're here talking Michigan ball, coming off a win against Indiana on the road. Always tough to win in Bloomington, but at the end of the day, we got our 25th win in the last 26 tries against the Hoosier. What is a Hoosier? It's a redneck. Jeremy, what'd you think about the game?
Overall, we started really sloppy in general. Would be my first general takeaway. We didn't play a clean game as far as penalties go. We had some dysfunction on the offensive side of the ball. Had some communication issues on the defensive side of the ball that led to some drives lasting longer than they should have. Had a ridiculous penalty called against Jalen Harrell that extended a scoring drive for them. Just really sloppy overall.
Let's hit pause real quick. We did not start this the right way. First of all, the Mike Hart situation was terrifying. Coming back from getting up and walking to the kitchen, coming back in, trying to figure out, there's a player down, and then, it's a coach, and then, what coach? And then Gus Johnson confirms it's Mike Hart, and you're like,
the heart and soul of the program.
Oh, dude, but it's different for people of our generation because, we grew up with Mike Hart. We idolized Mike Hart. We watched him, and I was like, Mike Hart's down right now? And the players being right there, I'm imagining they're having a conversation when whatever happened. They were clearly...
I mean, it was it's a scary situation, and our team definitely... It looked like they were dwelling on that for most of the game, which I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean, we were fans sitting there dwelling on the situation. So.
It's in the back of my mind, and I got nothing to worry about other than which ass cheek is going numb right now because I'm sitting on the couch too long. That's it.
Yeah.
So I can't fathom, and they brought it up in the broadcast multiple times. I mean, Blake Corum is just bawling his eyes out when they call him away. And there's, like I said, man, I hate that college teams don't take guys that aren't playing on the road because that would have been a great time to have Cade McNamara and Eric Hall on the sideline. Bring those guys together a little bit. But says he's on the up and up, says he'll be back in Ann Arbor soon, so hopefully this is just a one-time thing and not a recurring health issue for him, and he gets back safe. And in the meantime, old Freddie Jack's going to take over, so... For his sixth Michigan head coach he's worked for now? Fifth?
Yeah. It's been a long stint. He worked for Lloyd Carr. He worked for Rich Rodriguez. He worked for Brady Hoke. That's four right there.
Yeah. I think it goes back to Moeller and
Yeah.
But the last time I saw Fred, he was on the sideline in 2019 at Ypsi Community High. Shook his hand in the post game there when they came down and spanked me at Adrian. But now he's back at U of M where he belongs. So good for that. Good for that man. Good for that situation. Definitely sloppy. We came into the game the least penalized team in the country, and everybody knows the officiating in that game was just poor. Incredibly poor on both sides, all the way around from start to finish.
Yeah, it was just bad. I mean, even things that were going for Michigan, it was like, that's a skeptical call, but I'm not going to argue about it because it's in favor of my team.
You knew it would come back, just like that PI, no call, and then the PI makeup call. And Joel Klatt straight up, that's a makeup call. And when you see it that overtly, and those were two very different plays.
Exactly.
Not the action, just the situation. That got them down the freaking field, bro. That moved the sticks for them in a big way, and they ended up scoring there. And it's just not the same, dude. Just keep it in your pants and get it right next time, man. You're going to affect both teams when you start off that way, and then it just snowballed.
Yeah, I think you mentioned on the replay when we were watching live that the ref had his hand on the flag before even anything occurred. He was just ready to. He had made his mind up. I'm gonna throw this flag.
He was like, "Oh, DJ Turner's guarding someone, and I'm just wish MF would touch him, touch him." Bro. And, you know, most referees are going to run around with their hand on their flag because that's kind of their job. But this dude was, I mean, he was throwing it before freaking the ball even got close and DJ even made a play. So, like you said, yeah, he was waiting for something like that to happen. Offensively, something that I noticed all game, and this started from the very first drive, Ronnie Bell had a false start, I believe, on this. It might have been the play he had, the third play when he had that nice toe tap on the sideline. He came in a little jog motion, and then he had a false step. The cadence seemed off all day. Everybody was like maybe a half beat, half a step late sometimes, or early sometimes, and it just was not in sync.
Yeah, I mean, we were just, I mean, chalk it up to Nooner and Indiana. If you want, like you said, we always struggle. Michigan historically struggles in Bloomington. We made record of that last week as well.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about because they've only beaten us once in the last 30 years, but we struggle in Bloomington.
Yeah. But, I mean, and it's credit to the coaching staff and the players for that. We looked a lot better. We looked a lot better in the fourth quarter. Yeah, when it mattered most, and JJ went 10 for 10 after throwing his interception. So that's one hell of a response.
It's like 10 for 200 yards and the 2 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah, I will say while we're touching on the offense, you and me kind of wrote back and forth throughout the week. Well, once we heard that Roman Wilson was going to be out for the game, you and me kind of were skeptical about who's going to take his place. Are we going to move Roman? Are we going to move Ronnie to slot? Are we going to play somebody on the outside? And we got a little bit of everything. We got AJ Henning started in the slot early.
Yeah, AJ got the start in the first play of the game.
And we got Ronnie Bell staying in that flanker position. But then we moved him around in the slot, which we do even when Roman's playing. They'll kind of flip-flop where each other plays. But Roman's been more in the slot this season than he's been his entire Michigan career thus far. Yeah. But, I mean, you could tell the coaching staff tried their best they were going to try to throw the football. It started early. I think they knew that Indiana was going to have the defensive game plan of you're not going to run the ball. And we struggled at times when we did try to run it down their throat regardless.
Struggled as much as we have in the last calendar year, damn near.
Yes, but I really think the coaching staff, you could see it in the opening script. They set up a lot of early, easy throws and easy reads for JJ to kind of get comfortable. And I mean, I would say middle of the first quarter through the entire second half, we were a little discombobulated on offense as far as like passing and route tree and getting good blocks for JJ. And after that opening script ran out, we kind of were twiddling our thumbs like, hey, what route concepts are going to work? And
all the way around, I mean, Space Coyote tweeted, I don't think they know what to do on the ground right now. Straight up.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do right now. So,
and I don't think that's a cause of the co-coordinators. Like, I don't think that's the problem. I just think it's I think it's we're in October. We're in the first week of October. What type of team are we going to be? Like, they're still trying to figure that out offensively and trying to reach their ceiling.
Yep, this was about at Nebraska. It was really like, we started to like, okay, Hassan's gonna be the hammer, and that's the offense. And we started to get into that groove. And like you said, we're trying to find it right now. Are we going to be really balanced? Is Blake going to carry it 30 times each week? I hope not. Hopefully it's more balanced and we see more JJ and he can rack up a couple more 300-yard games by the end of the year, which I'm sure he will.
Yeah, but I mean, for fans that wanted to see us open the offense up more and pass more, we certainly tried to do that this week. Like, it was in the game plan, and they knew Indiana was going to try to take away the run game, which they did for majority of the game after Blake Corum popped off.
One thing that I sent a text to you about is I really would have liked to see we've been bandying this about all year, and I'm really high on him, but I really think that AJ Henning needs to get some carries out of the backfield, especially if we're not going to trust CJ Stokes and Tavi Dunlap's not ready and not going to be a guy. I don't like going into the next 2 weeks, Penn State and Michigan State, basically not having a third running back. That's just as much as I like to run the ball. You and I, we both use 2-back sets. Like, both those dudes are going to play a lot. Blake's going to carry the ball 25, 30 times and have a catch or two. Donovan's going to have 5 to 8 carries and 3 to 5 catches. They get nicked up even a bit. You got to have somebody else, and right now we do not. I mean, we haven't.
Or we're not. Or the coaches aren't trying to show that, because, like it or not, I still think it just feels like there's some things where we're not going to show everything right now. We're going to keep some things in our hip pocket because we think we can be really plain Jane in the running game and really plain Jane in the passing game and try to. And Indiana's not going to beat us if we don't show more creativity is kind of the line of thinking. For the most part, I think one thing that we mentioned last week, Luke Schoonmaker is playing his butt off, but I think Michigan misses Eric All in the running game more than they miss him in the passing game, because I really think he's a very no knock on Schoonmaker. I think he does a decent job most of the time in the running game as far as physicality, but we saw it in Indiana. I mean, he got his ass whooped a few times on running blocks, and I think that's where we miss Eric All the most, is because Eric All is that H-back, that tight end, that dude you can move around and gain leverage on your running game, and he's not going to hurt you because he's going to dominate the dude across from him.
Yeah, absolutely. No update on him. May never get one on him. He might go to the NFL before we hear anything about him. We're still out him. Cade's still on the sideline. Nikai Hill-Green still yet to make an appearance. Who else were we out last week? This feels like probably the most banged up a Harbaugh team has ever been.
I think to start the year, yes. I think for whatever reason, we just did not come out of fall camp healthy. Like we've been banged up since week 1. I mean, we saw it with the offensive line with Keegan and Hayes being out for a couple games. And I mean, we're just banged up. It just is what it is.
I have not noticed if Jalen Perry's been back since he went out against Hawaii.
I haven't seen him play.
Not that he would be in the rotation, but looking at special teams, we have the top special teams unit in the country. William Wagner, starting long snapper, done for the year. Caden Colasar, who's essentially the special teams captain, quarterback, is done for the year. It's looking like with another knee. So it's just adding up a little bit.
Yeah, I just hope this team can stay together and kind of focus on the main goal, which is to get better every week. I know there's probably a lot of Michigan fans that are pretty upset about the way the last 2 weeks have looked. And honestly, I'm not as worried as other people are. I think we're playing fine. I think the defense is playing fine. I mean, our secondary had 2 tests in a row. Maryland and Indiana both like to pass the ball, and I think our secondary more than lived up to those expectations. And our edge rushers really have
talk defense now. Yeah,
really, our edge rushers. I mean, first I want to get into one thing we noticed is Oki and Derek Moore's playing time got upgraded for sure. Yeah. And I don't think I think it's more about the team that we're playing and their style of offensive attack than I think it is them getting better. I just think we have a certain platoon of players that we're going to rotate on running downs, and then against teams that like to pass the ball like Indiana, we're going to see more of our edge rushers play. And if they get beat on the running plays, so be it. Which didn't happen against Indiana. I didn't see any noticeable edge hiccups in the running game.
Yeah, not off the top of my head. But yeah, we saw an uptick there, and the decrease in Taylor Upshaw's minutes, who decided to take to Twitter and seemed like complain about that after the fact until he deleted his tweet. Braden got a couple more snaps against Indiana than he did against Iowa, so he's still a work in progress and some added depth there. But we're already, I think last year we had 34 sacks on the year, and this year we have 22 already. So it's coming from everywhere. It's coming from absolutely everywhere. It's coming from multiple levels. It's not just the two edge guys like it was last year, and that's
and we're getting noticeably more interior pressure than we did last year.
Yeah,
noticeably
absolutely.
more.
Well, dude, we have a freshman All-American in Mason Graham, who can do a little bit of everything already. It seems like certainly rush the passer, and he made an incredible push-pull move on a guy to make a tackle for a loss, I believe, in the second quarter last weekend as well. Dude is just not a freshman, man. And Mozzie played his best game of the year against Indiana, for sure.
And man, I really think we want to, you and me personally, we had our talks before Maryland and Indiana, like, hey, they want to pass the ball. So it's going to be a big test for our secondary. And they passed with flying colors. And I think we're showing the rest of the Big Ten, like, hey, if you want to throw the ball 40 times a game, that's fine.
Yeah.
You're going to score some points. But your quarterback's going to take a beating if that's your game plan. Yeah. And the Indiana quarterback got hit after hit after hit, man. I mean,
it added up, man. It added up. I don't care who you are. You're not the same dude in the fourth quarter you were in the first or second. You've been getting hit all day. It's just not the case, you know? So, yeah, like you said, if you want to be that team, I mean, the next time, you're not going to see that again until Ohio.
Yeah.
Passing attack of any semblance, really. I mean, Penn State, they'll chuck the ball a little bit, but it's not exactly what they want to do. We'll see how their O-line can hold up next week.
Yeah, they've been forced to last year and a little bit this year until their younger running backs started getting going. Franklin wants to run the ball, but I mean, if they can't run the ball like last year, then they're forced to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see what the O-line looks like. I mean, it hasn't been great so far. I'm not talking about this year, just over the course of Franklin's tenure there. It's pretty much been their biggest default and the thing that's prevented them from competing more than they have in the Big Ten, honestly. But back to Michigan's defense, they're really desperate for linebacker play here with NHG out. Jimmy Rolder's been getting some snaps.
He's played a lot more. He played a lot more the last 2 weeks than I think they originally planned.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I haven't keyed on him because he's a freshman and it's just not what you and I are paying attention to at the moment. But I don't know how he's doing. I don't know if it's because like, oh man, Rolder can play and we're going to give him that opportunity, or just like, you know what, like trot the freshman out there because I know Jaden Hood can't do it, and I know Joey Velasquez isn't going to do it, and whoever the hell else is there, Micah Pollard at the moment. Like, is that it, or are we just waiting for NHG to come back?
I think we've seen a little bit of an uptick in Rolder's minute snaps the past few weeks, is just because I mean you and me, we like Khalil Mullings and we like him as a player, but he's leaving something to be desired when it comes to reading what the offense is doing.
Quite a bit. Is that his fault, or is that because he was splitting reps at running back half the year? Who knows?
Yeah,
it's still the case.
Yeah, and I mean. And Barrett's played fine, but yeah. I think everyone can agree that NHG takes this defense to a different level. I mean, he was one of the reasons our defense played as good as it did last year, and he was a big part of that. And we need him back if we're going to make a run. We absolutely need him back.
Mikey Sanders though played really good on Saturday. Rod Moore, Makari Page all over the field. Will Johnson got a couple more reps. Like you said, man, the secondary, gotten tested. It's held up.
Yeah.
It's held up. So year 2 in that system, Steve Klinkscale is a defensive back coach.
Yeah.
That dude can coach some ball players, so that certainly helps. But,
yeah, we just need to see what they do against elite talent. I mean, Parker Washington's probably the best receiver we've seen this year. No slight to Raheem Jarrett, who's probably in that conversation. But I mean, Parker Washington. Yeah. Parker Washington's a really good football player, and you and me as coaches, we don't like to put a lot of emphasis on one game, but it really feels like if Michigan's going to repeat as Big Ten champs, this is the week that we're going to find out like what we're really about. Because although one loss isn't going to hurt them in the Big Ten standings, it will hurt them in the playoffs because a lot of people have issues with Michigan's schedule thus far this season, and it'll hurt them from a national perception. It's not going to hurt what happens in the Big Ten, I think Penn State is better than they've been the past 2 years. I would say for sure, but I don't know if this is as good as the team that took them to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think it's that team, man. Here's the thing that it all ties together. What we were just talking about. If the interior line plays the way they did last week, Nick Singleton's good. We'll see how good he is. If we can stymie that run game and force Sean Clifford's old broken ass to drop back, they're going to hit him.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a wrap.
Yeah.
Because, he can be pretty darn good when he's healthy and locked in. When his face is in the grass, which is quite often, he's not great. And we saw it early last year. It didn't sustain, and obviously they always have a great defense. And hopefully we can take Manny Diaz to the woodshed on Saturday, but we'll see.
That is my big concern, honestly, is Manny Diaz will bring pressure from all over, and he's going to try to disguise it. And some years when he has veteran players, those disguises are going to look good, and the blitzes are going to get home, and they're going to stop yardage, and they're going to keep you from trying to throw the ball down the field. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have a good answer for that, because I promise you he's going to come after JJ, especially after what we saw against Indiana. He's going to try to get him off of his platform. He's going to try to keep him in the pocket and have him – they're going to try to take away his first read. And they're going to say, we're going to try to get our blitz home before he can get to his second read. And it's either going to work for them or it's not. And it's going to keep Michigan from scoring points or it's not. Because when their blitz isn't getting home, statistically in Manny Diaz, when their blitz is late or they're bringing the wrong blitz, it creates huge rushing lanes, and people will run the ball well against that.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. We skipped over Trente Jones going down with what looked like every ligament in his knee being ripped in half, but Jim said it's just a high ankle sprain, which is not good for an offensive lineman, but it is better than torn ACL. But it is better than a torn ACL. So Carson Barnhart is a great 6th guy to step in. It's not a huge drop off, but Trente was just starting to hit his stride there, so it's disappointing to see. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go watch some Penn State tape a little bit more before Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I really want our offensive line needs to show up. I mean, it really does. I mean, we need to continue to build chemistry and continue to and start moving guys off the ball, because if we let them stymie our run game, their blitzes are going to be all the more effective.
Yeah. I don't think you'll see – so I was thinking about this at work today. Like, okay, Indiana had some success against us stopping the run because they sold out. They're selling their corner blitzes. When they're not corner blitzing, their corners are backfield peeking, so they can just flat out go. And I'm like, all right, well, Penn State's not going to do that. Well, why isn't Penn State going to do that? Because they don't have to commit 11 guys to stopping the run. And then I'm thinking in my head, like, well, how is that any better of a situation for Michigan. And it all just comes down to scheme and winning those one-on-one matchups. Because if you do think that your guy's better than my guard, well, my guard's going to go out and beat your 3-tech, and then he's going to do it 15 times. And my back's going to have 120 yards. Or he's not. He's going to have 7 yards. You know, like that's what it's going to come down to. Is those.
And I tell you what, it really helps Manny Diaz having Joey Porter, potential CB1. It really helps having him on the outside to allow you to bring all the other blitzes that he likes to bring and to bracket coverage to other receivers because they know they can leave Joey alone. And I don't necessarily think that they're going to put Joey on one single receiver. I think they're going to keep him on one side of the field and say, you're good luck throwing to the other side of the field.
Yeah, they'll probably keep him on JJ's right and just like, hey, no.
Yeah.
Joey Porter Jr. is here. But yeah, that's interesting. If Roman plays, you'd think maybe he would key him up if he's in the slot just because he's likely going to go deep. But we don't necessarily have that physical guy all around that's like going to need to be locked down by Joey Porter. But yeah, you're probably right. They'll probably just stick him to a side and just say like this is the no-fly zone. But we'll see. So, well, you got anything else for the Homer Pod? Episode 2?
No, I think we covered everything. I want to give one more shout out to the interior defensive line play because it's beautiful. I've been waiting a few years to see an interior defensive line play like this, and I probably haven't seen it since 2016, honestly.
Yeah, I think I saw another tweet. Somebody said that Mason Graham is what everyone thought Albert Solomon was going to look like when he showed up. And it's like, yeah pretty much. Technically starting, but really not. So Chris Jenkins is still ahead of him. But
but he did see more action in the sub package this week for sure.
Yeah, and again, it's all like you said. It's all based off of who we're playing and what we want them to do. And we know all the guys who are going to play, but how much they play each week all just depends on the opponent, I think. So
yeah, I mean, this next game it sets the tone for the rest of the season because
it's a must win.
If we lose. We still control our own destiny. Obviously, Penn State will have to lose a conference game, but I mean, you can probably kiss the playoff goodbye with a loss.
Yep, unless it turns into 07 again. But if it does, then Michigan will probably shoot up to number 2 in the rankings and then lose again. But all right, man. I'll be seeing you in a couple days. Safe travels on your way up to the Mitten. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. Go Blue. See you next time.
Go Blue. Later.